Hey, what's up guys? Jose here, shreddeddad.com, and today's video I'm going to show you how to add band pegs to your stall mats. Now the reason I'm adding band pegs to my stall mats is because the rack that I have, it's a foldable rack. It goes up against the wall and folds down, and it only has 2 uprights. So there's nothing on the bottom for me to attach any type of pegs. So I had to add the pegs themselves to my stall mats. Now the stall mats that I have here are 3/4 of an inch thick. They're 4x6. And this is going to be what we're going to be using for the pegs themselves. This is called a trapdoor ring. This is what it looks like from the side. This is what it looks like from the front. This is what it looks like from the back. So the way this works is that we're going to cut a hole into our stall mats, and then we're going to sit this in there. It's going to sit recessed into the stall mat, and then the top is going to be flush on the stall mat. So there's going to be no tripping hazards at all. Now when I want to use this, what I do is I just basically lift up the ring, and then I have a connection point, an anchor point there for my bands. Whenever I'm done, all I have to do is put this down, and then it's going to sit flush on the stall mats. There's no tripping hazards. If you park your car inside the garage, then you can park your car without a problem. Here's what you're going to need to complete this project. You're going to need a drill, you'll need a sharp box cutter, you'll need at least 2 trapdoor rings, and a drill bit. Now, the amount of trapdoor rings that you need will vary depending on the type of training that you do. For me, for example, I'm only going to be using this for bench pressing and also squatting. Now, if you're somebody that's going to be using this for banded deadlifts, then you might need 4 of these. So I'm just going to need 2 on each side of my rack. Or if you just want to add more, you can add more as well. But this is all you're going to need. So the first thing you want to figure out is the placement of the band pegs in relation to your workout station. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure you try to get these as even as possible on both sides, so that when you start using them, when you attach the band to the band peg and into your barbell, then you're going to have the same resistance more or less on both sides. So what I'm doing here is I spaced out each one of these about 3 feet off the wall. See there, that's 3 feet off the wall. I didn't want to get it too close to the rack because you don't want it to be too close so that the J-peg doesn't get in the way. So about 3 feet is about right for me. It might be different for your setup. And another thing I'm doing here is that I'm using my barbell as a reference. So if I roll the barbell out, you can see that the band peg is going to be just outside of the area where I place the weights. Same on the other side there. And that will give me a good idea of where to place them. Now this might be different for your setup. Maybe you don't have a rack like the one that I have. But just as a reference, I think it'd be a good idea to just use the barbell, and that way you can just place them right outside where that weight stop is. Now that I know where I want to place the band pegs, all I have to do now is basically trace the outline. I set that down where I want it, and then I'm going to trace the outline just to give me an idea of where I need to cut. So make an outline around 4 sides. And then you're going to have a rectangle there for you to have an idea of where to cut. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pull out the tape. Is for these sides, I'm going to cut about 1/2 inch in from each side. Okay, you don't want to cut, you want to make sure that you don't cut the corners. Cut from the sides, from the center of the sides, because you don't want to cut the corners, because that's where you're going to be using the screws. Okay, so don't go too close to the corners. Do more from the center in, about 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it here with the pencil, about 1/2 inch, about 1/2 inch. Same over here. And 1/2 inch, and that way I know more or less where to start cutting. And then it's just a matter of using the box cutter to start cutting. Okay, so I finished cutting the hole, and this is what the piece is going to look like. You're going to have the rubber piece. You might need a screwdriver just to help you pull that out. And now we can set this in here. We can set the trapdoor rings in there. And now all we have to do is pre-drill the holes over here for the screws. So now what we're going to do now is just insert the screws into the pilot holes we just drilled. And that's all there's to it. Now you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So here's what it looks like from the bottom. As you can see, they're flush against the stall mats. And if I want to use it, I lift up the ring. When I'm done, do the same thing, put it back down. The other side, the same thing. I lift it up, put it back down. Now I did notice that there was a little bit of a lift when I screwed these in. I guess the screws are a little bit longer than 3/4 of an inch. So it did lift up the mat just a little bit, not enough to interfere with anything during your workout. But as you can see, they sit nice and flush. There shouldn't be a problem with any tripping or of any sorts, or these getting in the way of anything. And this is what it looks like. I got the bands there on the pegs themselves, and then the band goes all the way up to the top. Depending on where you place the door trap ring on the mat itself, it may lift up the mat a little bit. So if I pull on this, it may lift it up a little bit, not enough to interfere with your workout. You're still going to get that resistance from the band, but it may pull it up a little bit. The closer to the edge of the mat you get, the less weight that you're going to have on that edge. So try to get it on the center of a mat as much as you can, and that way you're going to have more weight on the trapdoor ring itself. But at the same time, even if you pick it up a little bit, even if it lifts up a little bit, you're still getting that resistance from the band. So there you have it. Now you know how to add band pegs to your stall mats just in case your rack doesn't allow you to do so. As always, I'm going to leave the links below this video for all the materials that I used. And as I mentioned earlier, you might need more than 2 of these depending on the type of training that you do. If you do banded deadlifts, then you'll probably need 4. But again, they're not very expensive. Each one of these is about $6 or $7. I hope you liked the information in this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave me your comments and questions down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.